Hello. All right, so we got a new update for AQW Infinity, the Dragon Slayer one, tech demo number 4 coming very soon. We got a date for that. Let's get into it. The new tech demo test will be at Wednesday at 1 p.m. EST, East Coast and North America there. So, Mr. Quest Infinity is running the most experimental test yet. All testers will log in with the new Dragon Slayer class skills, which use the new combat system. This new combat system has no auto attack and no targets. You press your skill and your attack goes whatever way you're facing. It's very different from the target-based combat of the original game. Based on your feedback, we will be determining if every class in the game will work like this. Okay, even if this does go well and people like it, I don't think every single class should be like that. Like, doesn't seem like a good idea. Like, there should probably be some targeted skills at least, I'd imagine, especially buffs and stuff, but like teammate buffs and stuff, heals. All right, so further down the page we have some more information. I'm just skipping over some stuff here that's not really relevant. So the test will go as long as possible on Wednesday at 1 p.m. So you probably have most of the day, probably a few hours at least. So hopefully people can catch that. You still need to be a 15th upholder, so it seems like that's not changing. They did mention in the past that they're going to open it up for more people in the future for these tests, but it seems like it's still just a 15th upholder thing. They said, I thought it was really odd when they announced this at the start that it was only going to be 15th upholders. I still think it's odd. They probably should open it up for this one, but we'll see. There were kind of server issues with, I think, too many people joining last time, so hopefully they have some more servers this time as well. It seemed like the servers were kind of laggy, but that might have been because too many people were on them. Maybe it was just the game. Who knows? Okay, next up we have Immortal Joe here. Who's taking over the writing for this, I imagine. So Immortal Joe here. Spire and I have been hard at work at designing and developing a new and improved combat system for AQ Infinity. Today I'd like to share a few details with you all. So there's a little lore section about Immortal Joe. If you want to pause and read that, I'm not gonna go over that because it's not really AQ Infinity related, but read that if you like. I did myself. Okay, so the first paragraph here. Our goal with the combat revamp is to make combat more fun, interactive, and expressive. We have several plans in place to achieve this, with some having already been implemented, and many more on the way. I won't be going over everything today, but here are the most important details. New class mechanics, hitboxes. In AQW, the way a skill hits a target is entirely based on hit chance, dodge chance system, which essentially boils down to either a skill hits or it doesn't based on a calculation, but the player has no control over. This is a very uninteractive system that we're experimenting with abolishing in AQ Infinity, instead primarily replacing it with a hit detection hitbox system. Okay. I have thoughts about this, but anyway, the way hitboxes work is when I'll say my thoughts again. Is when a skill is used, an animation plays like normal, except the damage from a skill isn't dealt upon both A, certain point in the skill's animation is reached, and B, the animation collides with the target at the point where damage would be dealt. Due to the fact that hitboxes will be a primary source of damage, we want them to be relatively easy to land, because let's face it, missing sucks. So in most cases, we'd have animations and hitboxes be generously sized. In the future, we may also implement different types of hitboxes, such as moving hitboxes, Mage's Fireball for example. Lingering hitboxes, for example, leave a field of poison on the ground that damages the target as long as they're standing on it, and summons. Okay. The hitbox will be a primary source of dealing damage. They won't be the only source. Some skills may use a direct hit system, but it doesn't require hitbox to deal damage, similar to what AQW has, but this will depend on if a class skill calls for it or not. In the future, we will also like to implement this hitbox system of monsters, so that their skills and abilities can be interacted with, somewhat similar to Legmain, Nightmare, Karnax, and the first speaker work in AQW. While monster combat won't be featured in the next tech demo, it's the next core game mechanic we plan on implementing, so there's a good chance that future tech demos will heavily revolve around monster combat. Alright, I want to give my opinion on what we've read so far, then we'll go into the resources bars. So This seems very, very interesting. A big deviation from how AQ Worlds is with just a tab targeting, basically. Just, you know, exactly what they explain here with the hit chance, dodge chance, all that. So having hitboxes really is gonna, the gameplay feel is going to really hinge on the hit feedback a lot of the time in a game that is like this. AQ Worlds doesn't really have any hit feedback. You have static animations that play every time you defeat a monster, like the bones like break apart in a skeleton and it falls to the ground, and that's all you see. A game like this is really gonna need some more detailed hit feedback if you want people to feel like they're actually like using these skills and it's actually working. We'll see how that works. I don't think they're going. They might, but I don't think they're going to go any more in depth with that. So I'm kind of worried about that as part of this. I feel like people aren't going to like it as much because it's still going to have those static animations and it's still going to not feel. Anyway. But I think this is good. I think this, other than my worries about some systems like maybe not being as polished as they could be, like this sounds really cool. The first thing I think about, you're probably thinking when you think of this, you're probably thinking of a room with maximum 3 mobs in it in a single like frame room, right? I imagine in AQ Infinity, it's not going to be like that. Imagine the room bigger. Imagine like 12 mobs, if not more, in some rooms. And not every room, of course, because that'd be crazy to have like that many coming at you in every room. But and imagine they're moving or something. Like imagine they're not just standing one place. Imagine they're moving around. Like maybe they're flying or something above you. I think having actual physical hitboxes could be really cool. Imagine you can aim them, like a MOBA or something. I don't think they're gonna do that because I think they want a touchscreen, but it could be something they do. It could actually be something they do. It could be fun. But yeah, that's my whole thoughts. Let's continue this on for now. All right, next paragraph is new resources bars. New resource bars. Mana and HP no longer have to be the only resource that classes use. When we design classes, we want them to use a resource that feels appropriate for their respective playstyles and theme. And sometimes, mana doesn't fit that criteria. Now that classes don't need to be designed around a sole resource, there's a lot more we can do with them. Now, for example, resource bars that now start at 0 and accumulate as skills are used, or a class like Skyguard, Grenadier, or Ranger could reload ammunition. Basically, different resource bars are another way to make classes feel unique from one another. Okay, so that makes sense, I guess, but I wonder if the mana bar is going to always be on your screen still. That's going to be like kind of a disconnect if like you have a class like a Ranger where you're shooting arrows or rounds out of a pistol or something. Still having the mana bar and stuff on the screen is going to be a pretty big disconnect. So hopefully they have like UI swaps for different resources and stuff as well. That'd be nice. Nice little, yeah, polish it up like that. Weight system and more global cooldowns. Weight system? Hell no. Yo, my ass would be over encumbered as soon as I log in. All right. No, don't worry. We're not adding an equipment load system. The type of weight I'm talking about has to do with skill animations. Oh, is this what I'm talking about earlier with like hit feedback and stuff? When you use the skill in Infinity, you'll be committed to your animation, meaning that you can't use another skill. And in some cases, it's already like that in AQ Worlds. You even move until the animation or that skill you're using finishes. Wait, you move? Wait, are you gonna do like are you gonna like shoot like a fireball and it like push your character back or something? That'd actually be cool. That would be like a cool like hit feedback, sort of like a skill feedback type thing. That would actually be kind of nice. Imagine you could use that for traversal too. Like you want to get through a map faster, so you shoot fireballs backwards. All right, I gotta find my place. However, this isn't entirely the case, as most animations will be cancelable in some form. Oh, let's go. Meaning that if you're near the end of a skill animation, you'll be able to cancel the skill animation by using another skill, immediately playing the new skill animation. A system like this allows for a wider range of class playstyles that we can create. For example, a class like Chaos Avenger might take some time to swing its weapon, then have some recovery time afterwards. Whereas a rogue class would swing its weapon fast and then be able to use a dash to quickly cancel the swing animation. Okay. Why would the rogue even have a animation that wouldn't? I feel like a rogue like a slash animation would be so fast you wouldn't even be able to have time to cancel it. But anyway. So this is interesting from reading this. It really seems like with the Chaos Avenger example and stuff, it really seems like they want to make a new game, but they're having to port all the old classes and everything from the old game. So effectively, they're going to have, if they're going through with this, they're going to effectively have to rework every single class. From reading this, like none of them are going to work the same as they work in AQ Worlds at all. They're all going to have to be changed to be different. If there's actually hitboxes and not dodge chance and all that stuff, I imagine there would still be dodge chance to some extent and stuff like that, because that's kind of just like an MMO thing. But anyway, so yeah, everything's basically going to be reworked. Additionally, I mean, that's my interpretation of that. Who knows? Additionally, since skill usage is now determined by another animation being active or not, in this experiment, we've removed global cooldowns from all skills as they didn't mesh very well with the new animation system. No more auto attacks. Perhaps one of the most significant changes outside of the hitbox system is that this AQW Infinity experiment will have no auto attacks. The main reason for this is simply because they don't really fit well with the new system in place. One example being that with the addition of the weight system on most skills, auto attacks would be very disruptive as they would fire off at unwanted times, restricting your movement and use of your skills. I always hate skills in MMOs that pause your player in place. Those are anti-fun. With the exception of classes such as Chaos Avenger and Chrono Shadow Slayer, auto attacks don't require any interaction, which goes against one of our goals of the combat revamp, which is to make combat more interactive. The removal of auto attacks also frees up a skill slot, allowing us to create more interesting and unique skills that we wouldn't have been able to otherwise. This is weird to me. You can just add another skill slot, right? Like, you're the game developer. You make the rules. You can just add another skill slot. It's a crazy out here idea, but you could just do it. You could. You don't take the auto attack away. You could. I'm not against the auto attack being removed, by the way, but you could just add another skill slot. It's something you can do. Keyboard controls. You can now move your character around with the WASD and or arrow keys. Please let me unbind the arrow keys from movement. Please, thank you. I use those for other. I like to use those for other hotkeys. Don't lock them, please. You can still use your mouse to walk around, click on monsters, and use skills. But for the best combat experience, we recommend using your keyboard. Multi-part skills. Better functionality allows us to have a skill turn into a completely different skill when it's used a second time. This feature is huge and allows us to create some super unique and interesting classes, even with the limited amount of skill slots we have at our disposal. Again! You can add another skill slot! You can do it! You have the ability, you have the tools. I believe in you. You can add another skill slot. It's a possibility. They seem really hung up on the fact that they don't have enough skill slots. All right, charge attacks. Some skills can now be charged. Simply put, the longer you hold down a charged skills button, the more damage the skill does when you release it. That's cool. That'd be a cool thing for like healers as well, right? So maybe you tap the skill and it does like a quick little burst, but you hold it down and maybe it unleashes a HOT for like a higher ticking HOT the longer you hold it down or something like that for a healer skill. Would be cool, that'd be kind of cool. Tired of walking? Well, some classes may have dashes. When a dash skill is used, you'll quickly move from point A to B, which aims to both help you traverse maps quicker and to also help you with evading enemy hitbox attacks once they're implemented. Dashes also can also be chained into and or chained with certain skills. We have a lot of fun with this in testing and hope you will too. Dragon Slayer class. If you played the previous tech demo, you're probably familiar with Umbra, a tech demo only class that we created to showcase some of the new class mechanics coming to Infinity. While Umbra won't be around for future tech demos, we made a new class to demonstrate these new mechanics, Dragon Slayer. Okay, I thought that was going to say more, but anyway. Future stuff, class design and power scaling. Farming and bosses are the two most popular types of combat in AQW, and we'd like to further expand upon them in Infinity. I'll get into specifics regarding farming and bosses shortly, but for now, I'd like to mention some changes we're considering in terms of class design, which involve making all classes both viable for farming and bossing, and making all classes scalable so that you can use your favorite class well into the end game, even if it's a starter class like Warrior. I like where they're going with this. If we go this route, this means all classes would eventually have relatively equal footing in terms of performance, but there would also be several new systems in place that you could make use of to increase your power level. I very much like where they're going with this. Alright, farming. Farming mobs, it can be boring. You're telling me. But we also understand that a lot of you don't like to think about what you're doing in-game while farming. We'd like to keep farming relatively low maintenance, so if you're the type of person who enjoys watching Netflix on the side as you farm, you can still do that. However, with that being said, we'd also like to add some new mechanics to farming to make the experience more interesting and engaging. We don't have specifics on this, but when we do, we'll let you know. Alright, that's, I wonder what they're cooking with that one. That's a very much wait and see, but, it could be worrying or good, depending on how you see it, but we'll see about that one. Monsters and bossing. As stated above, we'd like to implement a new hitbox system on monsters, but we'd also like to change the way they navigate around players. For example, monsters currently zoom into your melee range when you attack them. This would make sense if a monster is something like a bird or an airplane, but why does a turtle move so fast? And why does a mob with a bow move right up in your face? We're looking into the possibility of changing the way monsters approach a player before attacking them, as this would add another level of depth to combat. We'd like to add more intricate boss fights with unique mechanics. The difficulty of boss fights will be kept on the more reasonable side for story-based content, while the more challenging fights will be kept as optional content. Yeah, like they used to do this thing in, they don't do it nowadays. I don't know why. Maybe they just don't care, but they used to, when you finish a story quest line, or sometimes you get the end of the quest line, and there'd be a normal boss that you'd fight, and it would finish the quest line, and there were drops from the boss, and merge shop stuff, and all that junk. And then if you wanted to, there was an optional ultra boss, which might have had a separate quest, maybe separate drops, maybe separate merge shop stuff, and then you could fight the optional ultra of the same boss, but, you know, stronger, right? They don't really, they do ultra bosses now, but they're completely separate and not really attached to anything. They have recently done a few of what I'm saying, but they don't really do that all too often. So that might be what they're talking about here. Do more of that. We know that some players prefer soloing bosses, while other players prefer fighting bosses with a group. To satisfy both types of players, we may look at experimenting with a party scaling system. Oh god, which is implemented, but also allow for bosses to be dual. I don't like this. I don't like that. I'm gonna be honest. I kind of like the idea of solo, but it always gets really funky when you start scaling stuff up and down like this. There becomes like weird issue. Anyway, I'm sure they thought about this stuff, but yeah, there becomes weird things with the game when scaling like that happens. A lot of the time I've noticed in a lot of different games. Alright, the last paragraph mentions that the next classes that they're going to have are the starters, and they would like feedback. Don't need to read all that. I've been reading way too much in this video already. And then we have a skill breakdown for the Dragon Slayer class. This will be available for everyone, and it'll be automatically equipped on your account during the tech demo. so you have to get somewhere, which insinuates you have to get some way else when the game actually comes out, of course. You're not just going to gain it for free. All right. Now, skill breakdown. Skills work different because there's no mana for this class. I'm sure some classes will have mana, but this one does not. So, Veteran Slayer, your skills deal 20% more damage to dragons. Nice. Your skills grant you determination up to 100. At 50, determination become determined, causing your next skill you use, except for Slayer combos, to consume 50 determination and become empowered with an additional effect. Using a skill well determined does not grant determination. So instead of mana, this class uses determination as its resource. Upon using the skill, your determination fills up. Once you reach 50 determination, the next skill you use becomes stronger, either dealing more damage or applying additional effects. The amount of determination you gain varies per skill. The rule of thumb is to make sure you're always using a skill so you can fill your determination as fast as possible. So basically, the more skills you use, the more determination you get. Determination buffs your skills. Cool. Slayer combo. Target, enemy, range, short. Cooldown, 0. Skill 1. So you have a 0-second cooldown on your first skill. But I think you have to wait for the animation to play. So that's like kind of the cool. I don't. A 3-part attack. Hold down the skill key to continuously use the skill. First hit, pull surrounding regular enemies towards you. Swing your weapon upwards and leap into the air on second hit. Third hit, swing downwards while landing and gain 5 determination. This very much seems like a League of Legends thing. This is a relatively straightforward skill. When you hold down your skill key, you alternate between 3 different attacks, with the third attack filling your determination since this skill has no cooldown. Repeatedly using it is the fastest way to fill determination on Dragon Slayer, so be sure to use it while your other skills are on cooldown. That's crazy, okay. Skill 2, Impale. Targets your enemy. Range is long, 4 seconds on the cooldown. A forward thrust that deals damage, then pulls regular enemies towards you. Another skill that pulls enemies towards you. Gain 10 determination upon striking an enemy. Determined deals 25% more damage and heals yourself upon striking an enemy. Like the first part of Slayer's combo, I hate this gray on black background text. Like the first part of Slayer's combo, this skill pulls monsters right to you, allowing you to easily follow up with other skills without having to reposition yourself. When determined, pulling in monsters will also heal you, keeping you alive for longer. Skill 3. Alright, so what is this one going to do? I haven't read this yet. Target self and enemy, self and long. Cooldown 3. Dash in the direction you're moving and gain 10 determination. If you're targeting an enemy, you can recast a skill within the first 2 seconds to leap in front of them, dealing damage upon landing. That sounds cool. Determined. Damaging an enemy also stuns them. Okay. Currently, the main function of this dash is to quickly move from one point to another, allowing you to get around the map quicker. When monster functionality is added, dashing will ideally be used to assist in evading their attacks as well. If you're targeting an enemy, you can also use the second part of the skill, a jump strike, allowing you to quickly close the distance between you and a monster while stunning them in the process if you have at least 50 determination. That seems like a fun skill, to be honest. Like being able to jump to an enemy and deal damage when you land seems pretty fun. Hopefully there's a cool animation for that. Skill 4, Scorched Steel. Targets your enemy, short range, 5-second cooldown. Charge for up to 2 seconds and unleash a fiery attack. Deals increased damage based on your charge time. Gain 10 determination upon striking an enemy. If Dragon Bane is active, charge twice as fast. You can freely move while charging. Oh, that's sick. Deals 50% more damage if determined. Damage-wise, is Dragon Slayer's stronger skill. The longer you charge this skill, the more damage it does. And if you have 50 determination, you deal even more damage. Unlike other skills, your movement isn't restricted while using Scorched Steel, so you can freely position yourself in front of a monster before delivering a devastating blow. Yeah, it's weird that they're locking movement with a lot of abilities in this game. I'm probably not going to use any class that locks you in place. because I really don't like that in games, but that's just a personal thing. Dragon's Bane. Target self. Range self. Cooldown 25 seconds. Raise your Dragon Bane's blade skyward. Instantly filling your determination for 10 seconds. Your determination gained is doubled. Scorched Steel charges twice as fast, and your bonus damage to Dragonkin is increased by 50%. So this is just a massive buff for your whole class. Your outgoing damage is increased by 25% for the duration of Dragon Bane if you're determined as well. A temporary buff that's all about increasing Dragon Slayer's damage output between instantly maxing your determination, causing Scorched Steel to charge faster, and increasing your damage to both Dragonkin and all monsters. You're getting a massive power boost. Alright. This class seems really cool from reading it the first time. Like the fact that it's like a dash, a jump ability, pulls enemies to you. Like it seems pretty cool. Can't wait to try this out. Definitely have a video of me trying this out when it actually comes out on Wednesday. So look forward to that. It's tomorrow. So pretty cool. Conclusion. That concludes the Dragon Slayer Infinity class design notes post. We spent a lot of time designing and implementing Dragon Slayer's new skills, and we're ecstatic to have something that we can finally share with you all. We hope you all enjoy your time with the newly reimagined Dragon Slayer, but please note this class is currently in the testing phases and nothing has been balanced yet. So what you see now may change in the future based on your feedback. Have fun and enjoy the class. Immortal Joe. Alright, that's all we got for today. If that's all, it's probably like a 30-minute video of me reading update posts. But hey, if you watch till the very end, leave a comment, tell me what your favorite movie is, and thanks for watching. I will be checking out the class tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to stream or record a video. That's up in the air. Probably depends on how I feel tomorrow about it, like what releases and how I feel about it. But there'll be some kind of content on the channel tomorrow about the new class. I'll probably make a separate video even if I don't make a video on it as well. So it'll be either a stream and a video or just a stream or just, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how I feel. But yeah, so will be content. I think it's really cool. The updates, the stuff. Let me know what you guys think about the actual. If you made it to the end here, let me know. Comment your favorite movie because I want to know who made it to the end. But also, what do you guys think about them removing like auto attacks and changing the whole combat and stuff? I don't think this is actually going to be good for mobile. If I'm being, as like someone that plays on PC and probably won't play it too often on mobile, this is good. As someone that, yeah, if you're going to play this on mobile, like having all these abilities, like dashing around and all that stuff, I don't think it's gonna be too great to do on a phone. But I might be wrong. It might be a skill issue on my part with using a phone. Don't really game on the phone all too often, but so yeah, sounds interesting. We'll see what happens there. We'll get to check it out tomorrow. So thanks for watching. Leave a like on the video if you liked it. Subscribe. We're almost at 75,000, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.